Hey everybody, what's happening? Aaron back with you. Today we have a really awesome guest on, and I'm so excited to share this one with you because it's really funny how life works where I had to connect with somebody to reach somebody else for one of the podcasts. But what's really cool though is the person that I had to connect with was able to provide me with a story and to provide me with so much information that I said, you need to be a guest on here. So I definitely had to take her up on that. So today on the podcast, we have Amy Sciarretto. She's the founder of Atom Splitter PR and a writer. So the backstory between that is Amy and I connected after I tried to reach out for a previous podcast for Jesse Leach of Kill Switch Engage. And when she was telling me about that, I decided I wanted to talk further with her about it because her story was really interesting. And I wanted to make sure that she could express the things that she goes through on a daily basis, which is really amazing because she said it best. PR is not just a job, it's a lifestyle. And you'll hear a lot more about that on the podcast. So, as always, this is a great one. I'm so excited to bring this one to you. Let's roll. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today with me, I have Amy Sciarretto. She's the founder and president of Atom Splitter PR and is also a writer. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So we were just talking about this right before the podcast started. And I said to you, I don't know if I would have the same idea of what a PR person does. So kind of give me a rundown of your position and who you are and what kind of you do.
Oh, that's a very broad question.
Right.
It's a good one, though. Basically, I run a boutique PR agency. I started out working at Roadrunner Records for many years, and I worked in the radio and video and promo departments there, and then I worked in the press department. And then when I left there, I started my own PR company, and I work with most of a good chunk of the bands that I worked with at Roadrunner. A lot of the bands I work with, I have several years and several albums worth of relationships with. But PR is a very interesting field. It's actually like PR and public relations is a skill, that once you learn it, you can apply it to anything. It could be music, it could be books, TV shows, movies, baking, restaurants, makeup, porn, everything.
Right.
So everything, how you find out about the things that you love is usually oftentimes through marketing and PR efforts, whether it's advertising or some kind of a promotional event or reading about it in a magazine or seeing it on a TV show or seeing it on the internet or being written about. So public relations, it isn't really dealing with the public. It is dealing with how the media perceives the artists and the bands that we work with and their music. It's about the perception. And it includes everything from setting up, pitching, securing, and setting up interviews with media outlets, declining interviews with media outlets, preventing press access to an artist for whatever reason, whether they do limited press or they've done something where then they don't want to talk to the press about it, or spinning things, to make sure that the artist's image remains protected, to make sure they're always shown in the positive light, and that their fans and the media and the public has this image and this view of them. You want to make sure you just put the best foot forward out there. Not everybody does that all the time because human beings are humans, and sometimes people. Am I allowed to curse or no? You prefer not to?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I will try not to spew, F words. But people talk about
occasionally.
Yes, humans make mistakes. So whether you're an artist or whether you're a sports figure or whether you're an actor or a celebrity, people make mistakes. So PR is a lot of times managing that and helping to fix any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any
transgression.
Yeah, or anything that, you've done that's,
Yeah.
not really, doesn't make you look great, or
Right.
you've done something stupid or said something stupid. But it's also very positive putting out there if you work in charity or you're doing things with kids or organizations that where you want to help children in need or animals or
Yeah.
anything like that. So there's a lot of things that artists do in their free time or their personal lives, and they like to spotlight that and get the word out and help those organizations that they work with or they belong to. So it's not just about promoting the music and the tour and the record or whatever the band is doing. Yes, that's the foremost thing that you're doing, but it's also just about creating their image and shepherding that and fostering that and making sure that you're seeing and hearing and watching everything the media is doing and saying about your artist. But it's
And
about shepherding an image.
that's super interesting to me because you talk about I'll talk about the personal experience I had with you was when I just reached out to you, you were just right away like, yeah, I'll just ping management and figure out, see if they're interested. And I'm like, that's just kind of amazing that somebody would just do that for our organization, because
Sure.
it's one of those things where I'm sure you get thousands of requests a week for
Yes.
probably however many people that you manage. But at the same time, it's got to be like, do you pick and choose those things, or is it like oh, that person definitely is very interested in this, I'll just throw it out to them, see if they want to do it? Or do you kind of guide what people are asking you to do?
It really depends on the artist's preference and what their protocol and what their criteria is. Every artist I work with has different press goals, different press expectations, different press protocol, and different criteria of what they will and won't do. And
Sure.
that's all decided in advance. Like when somebody makes a request of one of our artists, I'll pretty much know based on the request, based on, if I know this outlet after I vet it, if I don't know them, we'll know by reading it and looking at it and seeing their request and checking it and vetting it and seeing what they do, what they cover, how many views they get per month. We'll know if it's something that the artist will entertain doing or will be interested in. It could be like a big outlet that asks us for an artist to participate in something, but it might not be of interest to them.
Yeah.
It could be doing a big feature on rockers who golf, and if the artist doesn't play golf, they're not going to want to do that.
Right.
Or they just might be on a press break and they might not be doing any interviews because they're working on a record and they need to focus on making the music before they start breaking off to do promotion for it. Or it could be something that's like certain artists are like, we're only doing certain level press because either they've done tons of press or they just don't like to do a lot of press, or because they're at a level where they don't need to do anything. They can pick and choose what they want to do. And we know that in advance as well.
Yeah.
But when something niche comes to us or something that I know an artist cares about, like, Jesse from Killswitch, when you reached out about him, I know mental health issues are very important to him. It's something he's passionate about, something he speaks out about. So I said, okay, let me see. I haven't worked with you before. You were very professional. Some people aren't when they reach out. You were super professional. I said, let me check and see. And well, you would be surprised.
I would be. I'm sure I would be, because I thought when I reached out, I was like, oh, we'll just, type up an email. I'm like, oh, this is probably, semi-professional enough. We'll just see what happens. And like, I literally was cold calling. Like that's how I felt, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because we are a very smaller organization. We're not like a huge nonprofit. We're a medium-based nonprofit that has really been just taking the step to reach out to people that we feel are valuable to what we believe. And when we do that and somebody says yes, it's super, like, I for lack of a better term, it's super heartwarming, because it's like this person genuinely cares about the issue that we are trying to combat on a daily basis, and they actually are interested in it. Like, it didn't seem like it was very unnatural. It didn't seem like it was forced. So that's why it does mean a lot to people like us.
For sure.
Yeah.
You don't know unless you ask. And like I said, people, that's fine if they send an email and request, and we try to get to as many as we can as quickly as we can, but we just are dealing with such a high volume of requests and very high profile, very busy artists.
Yeah.
There's just not enough hours in the day to get everything approved. Basically, we try to be as accommodating as we can, and sometimes when we can't, some people don't like to take no for an answer. Some people are very, very gracious about it, which to me, it's like if somebody's really gracious when you say, hey, I can't set this up, the band's not available, that makes me, if they're gracious about it, next time I will keep I will
Right.
consider their request. Or if somebody's rude to me, all right, well then fine. I don't have to, I didn't talk to you like that, but you don't have to. Well, next time we'll just tell you no, no matter, and you won't get it. There won't be a second chance or a second consideration on it.
But see, that's exactly it too, because even if you would have said no, I'd have been like, okay, well, cool. If you ever reconsiders, just let me know. That'd be great.
Yeah,
It
I always
doesn't.
tell people, feel free to stay in touch. Maybe we can work on something else. Or maybe we
Yeah.
have another artist who is available and is really interested and very, well spoken on these topics, or that wants to support this kind of organization or is really passionate about it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. So little inside knowledge for everybody, just be nice. Like that's probably what it comes down to.
It goes a long way. You'd be surprised. I always say I'm nice to everybody until they give me a reason not to be. And there's really no reason to get people not to be nice. It's nice to be nice. It's good to be nice to people. I always say when people are like, you think of somebody being rude to somebody like a Target or like a restaurant or something. I see that all the time and I go, imagine that's somebody's mom or that's somebody's sister,
Yes.
or that's somebody's, somebody cares about that person and you just treated them like shit for no reason. Like, I don't understand that mentality or that way of approaching life.
I think I almost say this because this conversation comes up literally almost every podcast I do. And I always tell them, like, at the end of, like, I do my intro and I'll do my outro, I always say the same thing. Just be kind to one another. Like, how hard is that to do? I mean, we're all going through this thing together. We're all going through life together. And yet you have the audacity to be mean to somebody because you're not having a good day or whatever. No, just check yourself. It's ridiculous.
Take it out on someone else. Yeah, everybody has a crappy day, and you apologize if you snap at somebody or whatever. Yeah. But like, just being outright mean to somebody is just ridiculous.
Exactly.
That stuff comes back tenfold.
Exactly. So yeah, just that's a good insight. Good inside knowledge for everybody. Just be nice if you're reaching out to ask for a favor, because it definitely could come back, which it did for us. So, so you definitely, obviously you're in the music realm. Do you do any other like PR for like different like things like sports, or like just like you said, you also do like beauty, correct?
Well, yeah, I write about like I said before, I'm a recovering music writer.
Right.
I got my start writing about music. I used to write for music magazines like Kerrang and Revolver and Decibel and Alternative Press. Mm-hmm. I wrote for Spin and VH1 and stuff like that. But I semi-retired from doing that, but I still like to write. I love to write. I still write about fashion and beauty, and I've been doing that for probably like 10 years. That's just like a side hustle, and I love doing it because I get to write about things that I like for free, like beauty products. I get to write about them, so you get them, but you have to spend the time to test them and write about them. And to me, that's not work. That's fun. Yeah. So I've been doing that for a really long time. But for PR, I mostly do music. I mostly handle bands. But some of my bands that I work with have organizations that I help out. Like Jake from August Burns Red, he is working on a side thing that actually we're going to announce in like 2 weeks that I'm helping him get PR for that in his local community. Vic from Pierce the Veil, he's the president of a foundation, which is like a Make-A-Wish type of thing, where it's Live in the Dream Foundation, where they basically have these dream days for people with illnesses. They're able to meet their favorite bands. They usually do it at festivals, but with touring on pause, they've pivoted to these virtual dream days where people who are terminally ill or have really, really are in not great health, they're able to spend time with their favorite artists. And sometimes the artist will like serenade them, or they'll get to talk, or they'll share stories. It's really, really, really great. And if you are a fan who just happens to love those bands, that this is the chance that you get to spend some quality time with them. And Vic is real passionate about it. So we help him with getting the word out about their dream days, about the things that they're doing, about his role, because it is really something he's really, really dedicated to. So we'll work with artists. If we have an artist, I had artists like launch apps before, and we'll help them with those as well. Just thinking about the business press or the tech press. Matt from Trivium, he's built a Twitch empire, so we'll always work with him to get coverage in some of those tech spaces for the things he's done.
You're talking to a guy that watches him frequently on that. So
Twitch, really?
Well, so on a side note, I also stream on Twitch for the center, and I follow Matt and I watch him when he does all this stuff, and it's just like that's the way to get out to people. And I love it. I love that, like, that he is so passionate about doing it too. And it's
And he's
just,
been doing it for quite some time. Like, I remember
yes,
we were doing a press day for Trivium's, not the record that just came out with Dead Men Say, but the record before that. We were doing press in New York, like a press day when press day is when the band comes to New York and hits all the New York media outlets
sure.
in advance of the album to promote it. And he was on that press day. We were doing like at Guitar World. He was doing Guitar World lessons and playthroughs for Guitar World readers. And while his wife was there and while he was recording these playthroughs, his wife was putting it on Twitch, some of it, oh, this is what Matt's doing. Stay tuned for more of this. And so when we had this new album come out, Matt was already so entrenched in that world that we started a lot of the tech press, like Mashable and stuff like that. We were able to expand coverage for him because Matt's been doing press in the rock and metal press for, a decade.
Right.
So this was a chance to spread the word and get him in front of more eyeballs. And those people love him because he's just really embraced this format and embraced that platform and has made a real name for himself out of it. And it's highly entertaining. He's very, he's really, been able to figure it out and make his reputation there. And it's fun to see because he's such a great kid. He's not a kid anymore, but when I met him, he was a kid.
Right. That's like I said, like it's cool because obviously people know about the standard stuff, your radio interviews, your TV interviews, and then you say something like Twitch to people. And I think most people know what that is. But if you don't, like, that's another avenue which people are going to, especially now more than ever, because we can't be in person anymore.
Yeah. It's like you got to be virtually there as much as you can.
Yes, and I just think that's incredible though, because it almost just seems like, like for you as the PR person to say, like, look at what this person's doing, and you obviously try to spotlight them in the best way possible. But when you talk about like the charity work that these people are doing as well, that only just makes them so much more human, and it makes them seem not like this, awesome music person, but they're actually a genuinely good person too. And I think that's probably the goal that you're getting to.
Yeah, of course. We like to spotlight what our artists are doing and their interests outside of music because it can possibly help. Like, so we have an artist that's like super, like I used golf as a reference earlier. Like Caleb from Beartooth is a passionate golfer. Like he told me once that he was like, I want to win a Grammy and be featured by the Golf Channel, So he loves golfing that much. And we're going to have him do something with the Golf Channel. And he was like super stoked about that. And the thing about it is that the best thing about that is like, somebody that might be like a rock music fan might never have heard of Beartooth because they like AC/DC and like Kiss, maybe an older rock fan. And they say, oh, look at this guy. He's in a rock band because there'll probably be footage of him performing interspliced with him playing golf. And they'll go, oh my God, I got to check out his music. And that's a person who will have found that music only through that avenue. So it's a way of opening up other music fans and and new fans to just find new people and new ears through a shared common interest and lifestyle interest. So and that's always really fun to do too.
That's interesting. I love that. And I think it's just something that, with the world changing, you have to kind of find different ways to get people to notice, people, I guess is the best way to put it. So you're talking like so much about this person, but you obviously started out from the bottom, I'm assuming, or did you just get like a handout that was like, oh, here's the best job ever?
No, that was like lots of, like there's no overnight success. It's always started at the bottom. Now we're here, and it's no truer words. I'm going to quote Drake there, and it's the truth.
Tell me about that process. Tell me about how that actually happened.
It just a lot of, I always say, like, our team, I always say that the one thing is that like nobody's going to care more than we do. We really, we love what we do. We're, I'll probably be up working on stuff till 9-10 o'clock, checking emails, making sure things are situated because, PR is a lifestyle and working in music is a lifestyle. It's not really a job. And it's one that I'm very grateful and blessed and thankful to have. I don't ever take it for granted because I have a lot of friends who hate their job, and at 5 o'clock, they can't wait to go to happy hour because they hate the last 8 hours of their day. Yes. And I never feel that way. I've never experienced that. I don't know what that's like. And I'm very thankful and blessed for that. And there are, you do make sacrifices for that too, because you have a lot of late nights out and you have to go to and people think that's so much fun, and it's not when you have to still get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and have deadlines to meet and work to get done. So, it is something, there's a lot of social elements to it too, when you have to be out and being very visible for things as well. It's also that kind of stuff is really important as well. When you're behind the scenes, you still have to also be visible in other ways to your colleagues and peers and stuff like that as well. But we just started out, like I just always I'm very competitive. I always wanted to be the best. I never wanted to settle for, if somebody was going to write about my artist, well, I want them to write about this artist too. It was just always being really competitive and really always wanting to outdo myself and compete with myself and do better than the last thing that I did. And that just kind of spiraled from there. And we get really in the trenches with the artists that we work. We consider them family. So that's what keeps us working together for so long and over a long period of time. And that's just, it was just always being willing to just go the extra mile is why I think a lot of our clients and our bands that we work with came to us or started with us, and it's why they stay with us.
So when, obviously you focus specifically more on the metal and rock community, but is your organization just dedicated to that, or do you actually plan to branch out to different, genres?
Always branch out. We have some artists that fall outside of just rock and metal. Right. I mean, ICP as well, but they fall into the rock realm, but also the rap realm. But we've mostly do rock and metal. But we're always, if there's an artist that we like that that's up and coming and isn't rock and metal, but we think it's awesome, we'll work with them. But we also would never turn down. We're always looking to get bigger clients and get bigger names and get more.
Of course,
too. We want to always keep growing. I don't want to stagnate ever.
But that's really cool because it doesn't seem like you're just complacent with that. Because I mean, being kind of a metalhead and rockhead, a lot of people don't think of other genres rap. I hate rap, or country. I hate country.
Just the one they like the best.
Yeah, you get very bulldozed into that same kind of genre. So it's really interesting to me that you can reach out and have the ability to say, yeah, if this country artist is really good, hell yeah, bring them on. Let's figure it out. And I think that's what separates you probably from a lot of other PR people. Am I right in that sense? Or
possibly, I know a lot of others probably act and feel and think the same. But I just feel like I can only speak for me. Some are really good at their niche, and others like to branch out or try new things, and that's what we like to do as well. But I also think what's really good about maybe branching out too is that it makes the job interesting for us too, because it's more challenging because we have to make new relationships with new editors and writers in a new genre and get to know them and know how to pitch them and craft a pitch that fits their audience. So that's challenging for us too, and helps us continue to keep growing as publicists and as media representatives.
Wow. So I mean, it's very apparent that you are busy. You're busy all the time. So
always.
How does the stress of that, how is that manageable for you? Or even backtrack, do you even view it as stress?
Yes, it's definitely stressful. I definitely don't get as much sleep as I would like or as I need. But that's just part of it. I'm just used to it. But there are some days where I'm just oh my God, my inbox is just I just want to detonate it because it's just emails. I just feel like it's an electronic handcuff.
Yeah.
Some days it's an anchor on my neck. It's just these emails just keep coming and coming. And it's a lot for one person to manage. It's almost unmanageable, the volume of emails that we get and that we're, just being messaged by people. And sometimes that's really it's just anxiety. It's anxiety inducing.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about when you say and obviously because of what you do, I'm sure you are attached to that inbox 24/7. It probably just doesn't ever end. But but do you ever actually just unplug? Do you ever just not? Obviously, do you take vacation? I guess is the best way I'm putting it.
No, I haven't had a vacation since 2006.
Oh my God.
And I tell people that, wait, hold on one second. Stop doing that. My cat stop it. My cat really likes to, I have these dried flowers. It's part of I always dry flowers after I get them because they just look really cool.
Yeah.
It's part of the decor. And my cat is being an asshole and is always like chewing on them, and then he throws up, and then he wonders why he gets sick, because you're not supposed to be eating dried flowers.
Yeah, that'll never change. My dog doesn't understand that he can't eat grass, but yet he is always going to do it, and whatever.
And then throw it up. I know, but he's like, he knows. Hey, stop it. Sorry, he's like trying to hide. And it's like,
no, it's like, I get it. That's life. That's exactly what happens. It's not all, Oh, that's just
when he throws up, I got to clean it up.
Yeah, I know. Oh, believe me, I'm right on board with you. But that's just the one thing that is just so interesting, because this is a lifestyle that I have never, ever envisioned anybody that could be in, just constantly working, constantly doing that. And there's just, I guess, when you were starting out as opposed to now, how has that pressure, like, has it felt a little bit lighter, or is it more because you're taking on more in your work life?
I feel like the pressure is just always there, because you're always trying to, do better, get more, get better looks, get bigger looks, do more to expose the artist and put their art in front of the people that, need to see it. So
yeah,
no, the pressure is always there. It is a high pressure job, because, artists are very serious about their art, and
right.
Very passionate about, the creatives are very passionate, and it's your job to help them get it where it needs to be. So there's always pressure.
So what's the top? Like, what's the one thing as a PR person? Is that the right way to say it? PR person?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the top? Like, what's the best thing that you could do for, obviously it's very dependent upon the artist, but what's the best that you could do?
In terms of like what you can get for the artist, like media placements?
Sure.
Well, yeah, like there's always the summit for certain bands would love to be on the cover of a publication or featured in a mainstream media outlet like Good Morning America or the Today Show or the Tonight Show. And there's others where it's just like getting on a particular podcast with a host that they love is like the one, like, oh God, if I can get on Joe Rogan or if I get on Hot Ones.
Right.
Those are the ones where some, are, it just depends on the artists, what their expectations, their goals are. Or some will be like, hey, I'm a huge fan of this, I'd love to get on it. Sometimes it's realistic and sometimes it's not, but we look at it and see, hey, will this artist fit? We'll make the pitch and we'll see where it goes. And a lot of times it works. Sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times it does.
And that's cool though, because it's good to hear that, because it's almost seems like, from a side that I've never experienced before, if an artist wants to do something, they can just do it. Like, that's how I envision it. And I'm sure that it's not even that way at all, just from what you're telling me.
No, it's a lot of steps in the process that people don't see behind the scenes.
And I think that's what people want to know, because I'm sure it's not just hey, let's just throw some fairy dust and you'll figure out, you can get it and it's fine. No, I'm sure it's not.
With artists doing interviews, like some of them will have an hour a day and you have 6 requests or 7 requests. Well, an hour a day worth of interviews means that's probably 2 interviews are going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's never enough time in the day to get to every request. So they have to be prioritized, and it's not personal. It's just a matter of what the protocol is, what the artist's preferences, what the artist wants to do, the media's reach. If time is really precious, it's got to be really maximized and prioritized that way. It's never personal. It's just, sometimes it just comes down to the numbers.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's funny you say that, because you even said Good Morning America, because one of the first cold calls I ever had, or cold email, whatever, I reached out to Ginger Z. Do you know who she is?
No. Mm-mm.
She's Good Morning America's chief meteorologist at ABC.
Oh, okay.
And because she talks about her own mental health struggles and stuff. So I reached out to her, and it was like a day, and she goes, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So I'm like, holy shit, okay, wow. Cool. I'm like, that awesome. But then she said something that was very like, I don't know how you would say it, like very news, very like on TV kind of thing. She goes, I have a hard out at 8:00 or something. And I go,
that means you had to finish by 8:00.
Yeah. So I read that email like over and over and over. And I'm like, I have no idea what that means. So I Google it and it's like, oh, it's this media term. And I go, oh, what am I getting myself into? I don't know any of this stuff. So
you got Google and you found the answer. Hard out means they got to be done by 8:00.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, well, good.
Do something at 8:01.
Exactly. And that's kind of, she's like, she goes, yeah, I got to get on the air. And I'm like, oh, cool. All right. So I made sure, and that's just it though. I'm getting into this cool realm of things that, one, I don't know about, but two, it also encompasses kind of what the whole mission of what we're trying to do is. And it's just people have these genuinely awesome careers and stories that maybe don't always necessarily get heard. So having a platform to do that, I said, of course, let's do it. And so that kind of segues me into more about you, because you also said you're a writer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, is that music? Is that book? Is that...
Well, I was a music writer. I wrote for a bunch of music magazines over time, Alternative Press,
Yeah,
Revolver, Decibel, all those. And I also wrote for a female-driven, female-centric outlet for a long time called Bustle. That's when I was writing about fashion and beauty. I did write a book. It was like with my friend Rick Florino. We put that out like 12 years ago. It was basically... we envisioned it as like a music industry 101 textbook. It's sorely outdated at this point. We always talk about doing an updated version for 2020, but that's how we envisioned it, just like as a pamphlet, pocket guide for breaking into music, which could really be applied to really any entertainment industry.
Yeah,
the same tenets and the same principles of it. But it's a little out of date. But yeah, we just did that back and forth. It was his idea, and we just kind of went back and forth with writing chapters, emailing them to each other.
Yeah, but that's also kind of cool that even at the same time, well, yes, it's still more stuff for you, you're also trying to help people kind of break into the industry as well.
Yeah, you always have to prepare and introduce and teach the next generation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's just it's very cool, and you have a very unique job. And to me, that's something that I don't think a lot of people have the slightest clue about. And to know that you're still working hard to help others and to constantly make people see the good side of something, I think that that's genuinely a very fulfilling thing. I would have to only imagine.
It is, because you're on one side, you're helping art. Hold on a second. My cat is now. Yeah, he's a one-eyed black cat. So
oh my God,
a Halloween cat, and he's got one eye, so he's very sinister looking, but he's really actually sweet. And when I'm sitting on the couch, sometimes he's like, "Oh, hi, I'm going to sit on the computer."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're actually not going to do that. But he's just like, "Yes, I am." But I think if I had the screen on, you'd see him right now. He's just one eye staring at me and then at you.
Well, I'll try not to make any quick movements or anything, freak him out. And
yeah, he just likes sitting here. Like, he wants to go to sleep, but now I'm petting him. So he's like, "No, I don't want to go to sleep. I want to stay getting petted."
Oh my God.
What was to say the good question again? I'm sorry.
Just like how your job has to be so fulfilling, actually.
Yeah. It's like you're serving two masters, to be honest. You're like, you have to serve the artists and represent the artists and put them in the best light with the media and get them the best opportunities and the best placements and really help them tell their story and get their narrative out there as they want. But you're also, by serving your media contacts who you work with, and you want to work with them to create really great content. That's really important too. Working with the media and creating a story or coming up with an idea together to tell the band's story and sharing the excitement about getting the word out about the band, because the media also is excited to do that as well. That's always super fun. But also, you're really, at the end of the day, you're helping get that music exposed to the people who need it the most, which is fans.
Yeah.
And you always hear people say, "Oh, when I was growing up, when I listened to these bands that I loved, I felt like somebody knew how I felt and I didn't feel alone. And that music helped save my life." So by helping that, music get out there and helping it be exposed to the people who need it the most, that's really very rewarding as well.
I can imagine, because like I said, they wouldn't get that kind of image like with their music if it wasn't for the behind the scenes kind of people.
Yeah, and people that are behind the scenes that are doing things that you have no idea that they're doing, but it's all happening and it's all quintessential.
So do you almost think of your job as a thankless job?
It can be, yeah, sure. I mean, because the hours are crazy, but
yeah,
it can be thankless. But you have to just put it in perspective with everything in life. If you love what you do, then that's a really important.
What do they say? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah. Like, exactly. And I think you have to, at least for me, from my perspective, I look at it like, yeah, you're probably working your ass off constantly, but it's fulfilling because you do have these really great relationships with probably the people that you love their music and you love their content and you have this really awesome, bond with them. And
it's give and take, really. There are
Yeah.
times when I'll be at like a football game or a baseball game or out on a Saturday night and somebody will message me about a work thing. That sometimes can suck,
Yeah.
but it's also like it is what it is. It takes 2 minutes to deal with it. But I think that's now anywhere with these freaking smartphones, you're pretty much your email and to anyone who wants to get in touch with you at any time. So you have to always remember to have a little separation and to do things for yourself. Because if you're just working 24/7, it can be very, very draining, and then you can burn out. And that's
Yeah. Well, so there you go. You haven't taken a vacation since 2006. Don't you think it's time? Yeah.
I should eat my own words.
No, but that's the reality of it, though. It's not going to be, I work Monday through Friday. I know how that's like. It is give and take, and it is something that if you are being that fulfilled by it, and it's something that you are so passionate about, it's not work to you. And that's I think the really underlying message behind it. So basically, like I said, I'll kind of wrap this up a little bit here, but I do ask one question on the podcast to all my guests, and you can take this however you want or however you feel it needs to be answered. What's your advice for anybody that's ever been in your situation or has resonated with something that you've said today?
What would be my advice for anybody in my situation?
Yeah, like in your and how that maybe you came into where you're at today. Like, what's your advice for them?
I would say it's really kind of simple, and I say it a lot. It's kind of like what we just said. Just have to remember, if you love what you do and fuck the rest. If you don't love what you do and you don't you have to accept that what you're doing might eat into some of your personal time, but at the end of the day, the results and knowing what you're doing and just having passion for it is really important. Don't lose sight of that.
And I think that's a great message, because I'm sure along the way you're going to fail a lot too. So yeah.
I mean, being in PR, most of 90% of the pitches I send out get rejected. I either don't get an answer or I get a nope, sorry, I'm going to pass. So you have to be really good and develop a thick skin and not take things personally, and just realize that rejection is a part of this.
Yeah.
And just be really psyched when you do get somebody that goes, yeah, I want to work with you on this.
That's a great message. And I think, like I said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, you have to probably prepare for that. So I think that's a solid message. So if people want to get in touch with you or they want to learn more about you, Amy, how do they do that?
I'm not very hidden on the internet. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all the usuals. So is the companies out there too, AdamSplitterPR.com.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I mean, and we'll put all that in the show notes too. Just
you can put it. I'm out there, on social media. Like Instagram is probably. I'm kind of sick of Facebook, but Instagram is my favorite.
Well, and see, like I said, people want. You seem like a very down to earth, reasonable, genuine person, and I think that's what people want if they're up and coming, or if they want to have a voice for them that they maybe don't know how to do it. So I think that's a great opportunity for people. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for at least just sharing your knowledge and just a little bit more about you, because it's a realm that not a lot of people know. And I've said that hundreds of times already, but it's a very valuable thing.
Yep. And I'm always happy to explain to people what it is we do, because I think a lot of publicists are unsung heroes. People don't see them. They're behind the scenes. They're not always visible, but they're the ones that are making sure everybody else is visible. It's like a very mom-like job.
Yeah, no, I believe that. I could totally see how that. If people want to get a hold of you, you can check out AdamSplitterPR.com and obviously find you on all the social pages. And like I said, I think what you're doing is fantastic. And again, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast today.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun. I definitely enjoyed chatting.
Of course. Thank you again, Amy, for coming on the podcast. It was really awesome because I got to learn a lot about the behind the scenes work that goes into really a lot of my favorite artists. And it's kind of amazing because even when she talked about Matt Heafy from Trivium, it's somebody I watch all the time. And it's through Twitch. And it's honestly something that they said, yeah, that's a good idea for you. So they know what they're talking about. And it's not just in the music world. They know how to shed the best light on somebody. So it was really awesome. And I'm super happy I got to talk to her. So again, if you need to check her out, Amy Sciarretto at AdamSplitterPR.com. Link is in the show notes below. Did you like the podcast? I always do. And the fact of the matter is, we're growing. We're growing at a very high rate. And I keep getting people weekly asking, where's the next one? Where's the next podcast? Well, I can tell you with 100% certainty, it's a lot of work. And I always want to keep providing you with that quality entertainment. But I need people to keep sharing this podcast. I need it to get out there, because the more opportunity that I have to expand the podcast, the better it's going to be. So if you liked it, share, subscribe, follow, whatever platform you listen on. It does help. Give us 5 stars. Give us 4 stars, whatever you think we're worth. I think we're worth 5, but you should definitely give us 5. So, like I said, it's a huge thing to have, because we need that exposure and I need your help. So please like, share, subscribe, whatever you're on, follow. Visit us on our social pages. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Discord. All of them are at Center for Suicide Awareness. We are located in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. Give us a quick Google search. You'll find us. But we're on all 5 of those platforms. And it's super important, because that's how we get a lot of information out these days. So check us out, Center for Suicide Awareness. We're part of this really cool group called the Mental Health News Radio Network. It's this collaboration of a bunch of different podcasts that focus on specific things, mostly mental health, mostly how to better yourself and how to accept those things that you're dealing with. There's a lot of different amazing podcasts, and we've got to speak to a lot of really amazing people because of that. I definitely recommend you checking them out. mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com. Times are tough right now. Times are really, really hard. I am so honored that I get to say almost each and every week that we had created something so prominent and so needed in a time like this. The Center for Suicide Awareness created a text-based emotional support service called the Hopeline. All you got to do is text Hopeline to 741-741, and you'll be connected to a trained specialist free of charge to talk about any issue that you're facing. It doesn't have to be just suicide. It could just be a bad day. It could be financial issues. It could be just a fight with your best friend, with your spouse. It could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is, because we all go through stuff, and we need to make sure that we're there. So you have an immediate support service that's ready to help you in any way, whether that's to listen or to give you advice. We are here for you. Again, text Hopeline to 741-741. Life has been very hard right now. It never seems to get easier, but the really cool thing about it is that I get to do the social media on the center's page. And every once in a while, I find myself writing these quotes or finding these pictures that are very uplifting about never giving up, that there's this light inside of you. And it's really cool, because when I do that, I see how it inspires so many people. It's very special to me to see that, because we need the goodness in this world right now. And with that, because we referenced it in the podcast too, you just have to be kind to people. You just have to be nice. It's so important right now. And the more that we can see that, and the more that we can put aside the fact that our lives are so busy and we're just in a rush all the time, and to just give each other some grace, that's what we got to focus on. So like I say each and every week, be kind to one another. You are loved and you are important. And remember, you are not alone. Take care, everybody.